Most people think that motivation is something you get by changing your habits. Waking up early, taking ice-cold showers, or visualizing yourself achieving your goals, all these are common suggestions to boost motivation. While these techniques can work for some, they rarely touch the deeper layers of what drives a person to take action. There's a far more effective way to unlock true motivation, and it's surprisingly counterintuitive. It's called the do-nothing method. Let me explain what the do-nothing method is by sharing a story of how I found myself lying on the floor in a small room in Tokyo, Japan, surrounded by strangers, all in tears. This was years ago, at a time when I wasn't in a good mental or emotional space. I had recently ended a challenging relationship with someone I loved deeply, and the breakup left me feeling disoriented, like I had lost a part of myself. To cope with the heartache, I buried myself in work. My days were consumed with freelance projects, art, and anything that would help me escape the emotional turmoil I was going through. On the outside, I appeared productive. I would wake up early, hit the gym, and spend hours honing my craft. But on the inside, I was avoiding dealing with the pain. It was similar to how some people turn to alcohol or drugs to numb themselves. My addiction was work. It was a form of escapism that I wasn't even aware of at the time. When life's problems trigger unresolved issues or traumas, it's easy to seek comfort in distractions. For some, it's social media, mindlessly scrolling for hours to avoid thinking about uncomfortable truths. For others, it might be binge-watching TV shows or overindulging in food. We all have our ways of escaping, whether we recognize it or not. For me, it was drowning myself in creative projects. This worked for a while, but after months of relentless work, I felt completely burnt out and emotionally empty. That's when I stumbled upon a workshop led by a mentor named Kenji, whose entire philosophy revolved around helping people confront and process their traumas. I don't know what drew me to sign up for his event. It was expensive, and I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into, but something inside me whispered that I needed to be there. The workshop took place in a small, dimly lit seminar room in the heart of Tokyo. The environment felt intimate yet unsettling. Everyone looked like they were on edge, unsure of what would happen next. Most of the attendees were successful individuals, business owners, professionals, and creatives, people you wouldn't expect to see at a workshop that promised to dig into your deepest insecurities. The first few exercises were unusual but manageable. One of them involved pairing up with a stranger and holding eye contact for 5 straight minutes without saying a word. It sounds simple, right? But it wasn't. As I locked eyes with a stranger, I felt an intense wave of discomfort. I wanted to look away, laugh, or fidget, anything to break the tension. It made me realize how disconnected I was from others and even from myself. If holding eye contact could trigger such discomfort, what else was I avoiding? But the most powerful exercise of all was what Kenji called the life review meditation. We were all asked to lie down on our backs and close our eyes. The room fell silent as Kenji's voice echoed through the speakers. He began by saying, "I want you to imagine that your life has ended." He paused for a moment, letting the weight of his words sink in. "You can't speak to anyone anymore. I want you to see the sadness in your loved ones' eyes, your parents, your siblings, and your closest friends." He went on, asking questions like, "What is something you wish you could have told your parents or a family member? Because now, it's too late. You'll never get the chance to say it." I could feel tears welling up in my eyes, and when I opened them briefly, I noticed others were silently crying as well. It was a collective realization that there are so many unspoken words, so many things left unsaid because we're too afraid or too busy to say them. Kenji continued, "Now, imagine being at your own funeral. Who is there? Who showed up because they genuinely want to, and who is just there out of politeness? What are they saying about you? What do their faces look like? What are they feeling? What would your partner or best friend say if asked to describe you in a few words? What is your mother saying as she stands there, holding back tears?" The questions kept coming, each one peeling back another layer of suppressed emotions. By then, the entire room was overwhelmed. People sobbed openly, myself included. There was something profound about visualizing the end of your life and truly seeing it from the perspective of those left behind. It made me question everything I thought I valued. This exercise opened my eyes to a harsh truth. While we all intellectually know that we will die one day, we rarely ever bring that awareness into our daily lives. This meditation wasn't about fear or morbidity, it was about clarity. It brought an intense focus on what actually mattered to me. This is where the do-nothing method ties back to motivation. People often think of motivation as something they need to achieve through external actions. Go to the gym more often, wake up early, take cold showers, or change your environment, they say. And yes, these actions can be beneficial, but if you're not addressing the underlying issues, they're just temporary fixes. Real motivation doesn't come from checking off a to-do list of habits, it comes from within. It comes from deeply understanding what you want out of life, what you fear losing, and what you would regret not doing. For me, this motivation began when I confronted my own mortality. I started to think about the regrets I might have when I'm 80 or 90 years old. Would I look back on my life with satisfaction or wish I had done things differently? So let's make this relatable to you. If you're in your 20s, I want you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself at 30. What do you regret not doing in your 20s? What do you wish you had spent more time on? Are there people you should have told you loved them? Dreams you should have pursued? You probably already know the answers to these questions, but you're not acting on them. No one in their 30s says, I wish I had scrolled more on Instagram in my 20s, or if I wish I had spent more time playing video games or binge watching Netflix. No one. We all know this deep down, but it's easy to ignore because we get caught up in daily routines and distractions. So the do-nothing method isn't about taking more action, it's about pausing and reflecting. It's about allowing yourself to feel uncomfortable and confronting the truth. Do this every day, and you'll discover what you really need to do. In conclusion, stop chasing motivation through external habits. Stop trying to get up earlier or force new routines. Instead, sit down, be still, and face the uncomfortable realities of your life. This will provide you with more motivation than any habit could.